Welcome to the Reese Report. I'm the mouth of the North, Andrew Reese, and I have a new special guest on my show. I told you guys I was relaunching this channel, going to have all new guests, and I have Nigel with me from Raptors Republic, writer extraordinaire, Twitter tweeter, X-tweeter. Listen, I'm never going to call it X, guys. I'm going to call it Twitter forever. So Elon Musk, I don't care. I'm calling it Twitter forever. Nigel, how are you doing? Tell us what you're up to. What's going on?
I'm very excited to be here. Thank you very much, Mr. Reese, for asking me to come. And I'm very, very happy that you did. I'm very proud of myself. I made it, buddy. I have made it. I'm here on the Reese Report.
Yes, I have been trying to get all new guests, as many as I can. I'm very happy to have a Raptors Republic writer. I had JD on, who writes for the 905. I was happy to have him on. Now I've got Nigel, a new fresh perspective. Nigel and I had a nice back and forth Twitter the minute that happened. I'm like, I got to have him on my show. And after last night's Raptors game, I for sure had to have him on my show because we got to talk about that guy right there.
That guy, he's something, isn't he?
Because after what we just heard, which I will get to, with the new injury to Precious Achiuwa, who is out with a groin strain tomorrow night, and with OG possibly missing another game with cramps, guys. We're going to see more of this man, and so we need to talk about him. So we're going to do a little Raptors recap here, guys. That's what we're going to do. And Nigel and I are going to go at it, and we're going to try to calm some Raptor fans down because there's mass hysteria right now about the Raptors. It's been 3 games, and people are losing their minds. So we're going to try to bring some calm and realistic talk here. You know, some balance talk. You know, little zen, little Phil Jackson here. Calm it down. We'll be fair and honest, but we're going to talk about the team realistically here. We're not going to speak with emotions. Okay, so Nigel's here to help me with that. And I'm here, as always, as the mouth to give you the mouth. And so that's what I will do. So now that we have had our introductions, I will start with the man I've pointed to, Mr. Grady Dick. Now, when we do Grady Dick on this show, the glasses must go on. So now that the glasses are on, let's talk about Grady Dick. Nigel, we're not even going to talk about the first 2 games. He didn't play. Played 2 minutes and 4 minutes. If you're a shooter in the NBA and you play 2 and 4 minutes, there's not much to talk about because you're not really playing. However, an unfortunate or fortunate injury to OG led to Mr. Grady Dick having a career high 28 minutes and 16 points in a Raptors loss on Sunday. I guess my question to you is this. Should Grady need injuries to get minutes, or does he deserve the minutes that he should he be getting the minutes is my question.
So for me, number one, we've discussed this before, and I'm not in a rush to push Grady onto the floor. I think he's got a huge career ahead of him. He has a lot of things he has to learn, and why make that on the floor, make mistakes, and add to the whole issue of how you learn. I'd rather him take a step back, see how everyone else is doing things, where to go, how did they learn to do what they're doing. So for me, that was my number one concern. Just because I want this guy to have a 14-year career. I don't care about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month.
Yes.
But what I've seen so far in that game was a young man where the moment was not too big for him. And he took it by the balls and he made it his. So super impressed by what I saw.
Yeah, 16 points on 4 of 6 from 3. And I'm talking a lightning quick release. There was 1 3 he took from the corner where the ball barely touched his hands and it was out within milliseconds. And it was a swish, guys. Now, I will say this, and I'll take off the glasses just for a second. Just now that I'm talking, I'll take off the so from a Darko offense perspective, if you're going to play his 0.5 offense, you need shooters on the floor. Now, I'm going to get into other players, but if you're going to play Pascal and Scotty together, then you've got to have shooters with them. Jakob Poeltl, who has struggled mightily to start the season, is only averaging 22 minutes a game right now, 7.8 rebounds, was a -19 against Philadelphia. I don't think you can have those three on the floor together unless you have significant shooters with them. So having said that, we have had a really hot start at three for certain players. Dennis Schroeder's at 50%. Grady's at over 60, obviously, or so he's at 50%. So my question to you is, what do they do about the Jakob, Scotty, Pascal situation? Scotty's off to a red hot start, creating his own shot. Looks really good out there, but Pascal seems lost in the offense. And Jakob has really done not much of anything other than foul and shoot 43% from the free throw line. Nigel, how do you fix this tangled mess here?
I don't know if you can. So I think the whole idea is to kind of run that corner offense, kind of do a bunch of screens in the paint, try and create a little bit of opening here and there, kind of do what they're doing in a lot of places like Sacramento, Denver, of course. They all kind of use that guy on the corners there, on the elbow. I don't know what you can do. You know what? That's above my pay grade. I think the easiest thing to do it was not to get in the situation in the first place. But Masai had this vision, a 6'9", and part of that vision was you didn't need shooting because shooting could be taught. And we've learned a valuable lesson that shooters are shooters. It's something natural that you either have or you don't have, and that's been the issue.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, the Raptors started off with a very gritty 97-94 win, I believe, or 98-94 win over Minnesota. That was a matchup that worked in their favor because they were able to play tough defense, and all they had to do was make some threes and win the game. The Chicago game, they blew it, guys. Like, they made terrible turnovers and they had very bad late game execution, which cost them that game, not once but twice. And then the Philly game, they were just overmatched. Maxey and Embiid were uncoverable, despite the fact that they actually had a really good three-point shooting game, 53% from three. I never thought I'd see the day where the Raptors hit 17 threes and lose a game, but they found a way to lose a game shooting 17 threes out of in 52%. That Philly game I want to focus on a little bit more. For me, it was defense. They can't stop Maxey. They haven't been able to for about 3 years. Embiid's going to get to the line at will. Pirtle couldn't stop him. They really had no size to guard him. What do you think cost him that game?
So Maxey shot lights out. Yeah, he thought he was Dame Lillard, and he was Dame Lillard. He was taking logo threes that looked like from out of nowhere and hitting 7 of 9 from three. When the guy's hitting like that, that's not defensive issues. That's just like a great shooter beats great defense, right?
Yeah.
And also you got a situation too where they were blitzing with Scotty on Embiid, and Embiid by himself out there is he's a matchup issue right away, right? So they were kind of got stuck. They kind of got stuck. There's one thing with Nurse when it came to defense, his X's and O's were superb, right? We know that. You know what he does and how he does it. And we kind of saw him do the same thing on Siakam a lot. He was doubling and triple teaming him, and then we kind of saw him kind of give up the ball way too much. So I don't know. I also, let's face it, that was the third game in 4 nights on a back-to-back.
Yeah.
And early stage. So I don't see anything I can give to that game, yes or no, but I just like the fight, and Scotty and Grady was fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, those two together, I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that. I don't know if it could happen in the next week because of the injuries, but I want to see that going forward. Obviously, you're correct in that it was scheduled to happen later, but injuries, as I mentioned on my mini series, guys, injuries are going to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen this soon.
Yeah.
Which leads me to a man that just is gone. Nigel, it's like I've never seen a guy with a missing toe disappear, but I guess you're gonna have to help me out here. Is he missing a toe? Is Darko just not like him? Are we focusing on playing younger guys? What's going on with Otto Porter?
Well, if I think, and this is purely my own idea, they just don't want to lose him again this early, right? This guy, they kind of want him around if we make the playoffs later on. So let the guy go slowly. He's another guy. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about him. Can we get rid of him? Can we move him, Thad, and Malachi for Brogdon? If we could do something like that, I would be super excited.
I mean, he's a 39% career 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
For a team that
Okay.
has no shooting, like you might want to put him on the floor. They did that with Grady because Jalen really struggled the first couple of games, didn't score a point, was 0 for 8. So they put Grady out there, which was the right move. But I'm looking at Precious and Boucher, and I'm like, maybe you give Otto a shot. Boucher's been good.
He's been good.
Precious has been okay. Now Precious is hurt. I think we've got to see Otto against Portland. What do you think?
Only thing is, what's he going to play? The four? You don't want a guy who's
Yeah,
physically, has issues playing against a big guy, right? You kind of want him at
yeah,
that three and kind of defending that spot. You don't want too much physicality. That's the
yeah.
only issue I have.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna trade him, you kind of need to showcase him at some point. So
Yeah,
otherwise,
yeah,
it's
that's a
gonna
good
sit
point.
there, right?
That's a great
Yeah.
point. Great point.
So, um, like I said, I'm not campaigning for Otto to play. I want Grady to play those minutes.
Yeah.
But when guys like Malachi Flynn are playing the minutes that he's playing and
Oh,
not
here we
really
go.
doing
Here we go.
anything,
I was waiting for this, buddy. Here we go.
yes.
Put
Now,
those sunglasses on.
listen. Okay, listen. All right, listen, guys. I love Grady Dick. I'm a Grady Dick fan. I'm not a stan, but I'm a Grady Dick fan. If I have a choice to play Malachi Flynn or Grady Dick, I'm playing Grady Dick, guys. I'm sorry. Malachi Flynn had a game against Chicago where he was minus 14 in 4 minutes. I'm not making that up. They were outscored 14-0 with him on the floor. Now, as Hopeful pointed out, he was better last game, but what's better? What did he do? I mean, he was out there, but he wasn't doing anything but turning the ball over, guys. And he just makes these ridiculous passes. It's like he doesn't know how to play basketball anymore. I've said he's not an NBA player. Maybe that's harsh. Maybe he needs a new set of scenery or something. But I just don't see it, Nigel. Help me. I don't think he's an NBA player. Help me out here.
He hasn't shown that he's an NBA player, that's for sure, right? He definitely has.
Yeah.
It's not like he hasn't had the opportunity. Most guys have like 20 minutes to make it. You know what I mean? They were on the floor for about 20 minutes, and the coach decides then and there, whatever happens, whether they're sticking around or they're going back to the G League or their time's up.
Yeah.
Malachi's had 4 years. This is his fourth year in the league.
Yeah.
Uh, some people have a lot of skill and a lot of potential, but most people just don't have the mentality to be an NBA player, to
Yeah.
be in that moment and do the right things. And I think that's the situation, unfortunately, with Malachi.
Yeah. I'll ask anyone out there who's watching this show right now. Okay. And I'll ask Nigel as well. Just tell me something he does well. Just well, not great, not good. Just tell me something he does well, and I will listen to it. I don't know what that is. Nigel, you got something for me?
Only thing, so I do like it when he's a floor general and he takes that ball and he distributes it to the right guy in the right way. He had 4 years in college to do it, learn it, and he's very, very good. Obviously, the pick and roll, which we really don't employ him in much, that's another
Mm-hmm.
thing that he was supposedly great at, and we haven't really seen it over here at this
Mm-hmm.
level. But yeah, it's one of those things, Reese. I'll
Yeah.
give it to you, buddy. I'll give it to you.
Listen, I'm not trying to hate on the guy. I just don't see it. I just don't see it, guys.
Yeah.
I see potential in other players. I don't see anything in him. I just don't. Even at Jalen McDaniels, like when they signed him, I thought, okay, he could shoot threes, he could defend, he's athletic. I can see something maybe in him in the future, although he's done nothing for us other than defend and rebound to start the year, probably leading to him only getting 2 minutes against the 76ers. But I just don't see anything in him. It's been 4 years. It's time to move on. We have big holes at point guard and backup center and maybe starting center right now, the way Pirtle's playing. So I wasn't thinking that this was going to be the case. I also didn't think our offense would be 28th in the league right now. It is only 3 games. But and guys, I said this last year in October. Why can't we hit free throws? Everyone wanted to blame DeMar's daughter last year. It's not DeMar's daughter. This happened. I remember last year. I tweeted out on October 31st on Halloween night. We better fix our free throw shooting. Otherwise, it's going to cost us in the end. What happened in the play-in game? We missed 13 free throws and lost the play-in game. We're shooting 68% from the free throw line. You're not going to win any games if you're doing that. And for all the people complaining about the refs, if you get calls and don't make the foul shots, what are you complaining about?
No, 100%. I think we had more than enough opportunity against Chicago to win that game. We did let it go. We let it go completely. And yes, granted, there was refereeing issues in there.
There
No
was.
doubt. No doubts.
Yeah.
But we had what, a 17-point lead with 5 minutes left to play or something like that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
speaks to other issues. Huge,
Yeah.
huge issues. Good teams
Yeah.
don't let 17-point leads with 5 minutes evaporate in the
Yeah.
way that they did.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I understand the youth excuse, but 17 points with 4 minutes should never be blown. I don't care if it's youth or not. There's enough experience on the Raptors to not blow that kind of a lead. And the turnovers were ridiculous. Boucher jumping at a 3-point shooter. Look, I listen, in high school basketball, a coach
Yeah.
will tell you not to jump at a 3-point shooter at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Foul him before he gets up. Then he only gets 2 shots. But that we blew that game badly. That was a painful as painful as the playing game was last year. That might have been as painful watching
Yeah.
that loss.
Nope.
So now I'm going to get to Dennis. Dennis is a very polarizing figure out there on Raptors Twitter. We have guys saying he's one of the worst signings in Raptor history after 3 games. Now, I know there are some ridiculous people out there, but you see, I'm going to expose you on the Reese Report. Now, this is a man who's averaged 15.7 points and 9 assists. I don't think that's bad. Now, 38% from the field is bad, but when you're shooting 52% from 3, that's not a bad thing. So, Nigel, please tell the people he's not the worst signing ever and might actually be a
No,
better fit than Fred VanVleet.
I think it's, you know what, for the money, what's he put? How much is what are we getting? $15
Uh,
million? 13 to
2
15, something like
years
that?
and 13 million, 11, yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Something like that. For that
yeah,
price, as opposed to $42 million, uh, we're getting way more value from him than anything we could have done with Van Fleet. Even at 30
yeah,
million, we're getting way more
yeah.
value. My biggest issue with him, obviously, is the fact that his 3-point shooting on a team that has issues in getting clogged in the paint, clog in the middle. I would like to see him run a little bit more there, shoot a little higher there, obviously. But for what we got and the situation with the front office having all their eggs in one basket with our friend Freddie Van Fleet and not really looking further outside of that and not being able to see this thing coming where Houston had all this money and they wanted him bad. All of that kind of led up to that situation. And considering all of the circumstances, I think it was a fantastic signing. Last
Yeah,
second.
I mean, how do we all see it, Nigel, and they don't? I just the selfishness that Masai mentioned last year, we were all talking about it before he even came on the stage. The Fred VanVleet contract situation and possibly trading him. Now he tried to explain it away with a ridiculous respect speech, which I call BS on. But it was a failure. Let's call it what it is, which is what he said it was. Uh, we all saw the problems, but yet the management doesn't see it before we do. How is that even possible, Nigel?
And yeah,
I don't get it.
and did you see Scotty's interview when they asked him
I
about Nick
did.
Nurse?
I did.
And if how did they not know that's going on in the locker room? How do you not know that your rookie of your year and your coach absolutely do not have any respect or caring for each other? That's a huge, huge, huge situation. And Siakam was well known to not get along well with Nurse as well, right? That's why they
Yep.
had Watson in there, right? As the
Yep.
interim between the two of them. So
Yep.
I don't know what they were thinking with Nurse until that
I
point.
mean, I said it last year, and I had some people call me out on it on Twitter, but Scott Barnes didn't look happy last year. I said it from early on. He doesn't look like he's enjoying his basketball. Now, I didn't know that him and Nurse were until I saw that interview. I didn't know how bad it
That
was.
interview is huge, huh?
But that interview told me a lot. And I was right. And I'm glad to say I was right. Barnes did not enjoy his basketball last year. The difference between this year, I know it's just 3 games, and last year's night and day. This man is a different player.
No.
He feels like he's playing with the shackles off.
It's unbelievable. I was complaining about Barnes last year. I really was.
Yeah.
I think right out of preseason, right first couple months, he just did not look like he cared, or he did not look like he was ready for the season. He did not like he was in shape. He did not look like he was even had made any improvements to his game whatsoever. And people weren't happy about me calling him out, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to say it. It's not because I don't like I have
Right.
nothing against him. I want this kid to be great. He's on my team and he's our savior, hopefully. And I
Mhm.
want him to be the best he can be. And
Yeah.
this year, he has just taken a leap and it's been outstanding. And I'm really, really, really impressed with the kid.
Yeah, he's been great. He's averaging 3 blocks a game, guys. Like I 21 points, 8 and 6, like 56% from the field, and a very impressive 36% from three. He's improved in every area of the game. That is a very positive sign. I went into the season saying this is the most important year of his career, and he's playing like it.
He's
So yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
he's become a big shot taker, big shot maker, and that is huge. That's the one thing with Siakam we've all kind of had our qualms about him why he wasn't ready to take that superstar leap is that ability in the big moments to really make him his. And Barnes has shown that this year he has really become okay. Let's not worry about that Chicago bloopers, a couple of
yeah,
things there. So, but
yeah.
for a young man taking the role and responsibility that he has taken on this year, and it's a big thing going from fifth man, fourth man last couple of years to being really the center of this whole thing. He's got the keys right now. Can we say that?
Absolutely. He has the keys. I thought he'd come in and maybe be the number two, but he's got the keys right now. The way that he's playing, he definitely has the keys. I wonder if that's by design, and we're going to get to why I think that, because Pascal Siakam,
Mm.
Nigel, there's no nice way to put it. He has really struggled these first 3 games. He's barely shooting the basketball. He's not getting to his spot in the middle of the paint to take his mid range. He's basically a spot up 3 point shooter early on in the season, not getting to the line very much. What's going on with Pascal?
He's changed his game, right? It's totally changed his game. His game prior to this was getting on the ball at the elbow, and in a post up kind of situation where he has a few moments to look around, sees where the defense is, where the second man's coming from. So he has all of that he's taking in, makes his first dribble, sees what's happening, and then he's making evaluations based on that. Now with this point 0.5 basketball, he's making those evaluations before he even gets the ball, which is a very, very, very different type of thing. And he's having a hard time changing, and which makes sense. He's been doing this for the last couple of years, right? Totally
Yeah,
makes sense that it is.
yeah,
And I'm hoping that that's the case and that he'll try to adapt and it will come around because it's one thing we do know about this kid. He works hard and he tries and he tries and he tries. But sometimes, you know what, it could also be a psychological thing where he feels like, you know what, they've been pushing me back. I've given all my heart and soul for this team. And they didn't give a crap about me to give me an extension. They didn't want to talk about all of this stuff. They're ready to throw me out to Atlanta. Why should I even bother? That's what I'm worried about.
yeah. I mean, you look at him and you don't think he has that kind of attitude, but man, the way they threw him under the bus in the offseason, I would be feeling some kind of way if I was him.
Yeah.
What I will say about Pascal is this: whether they like it or not, whether we like it or not, his contract's up this season.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it's up to Pascal in a certain way. Obviously, the offense is affecting him, but I said this to Hopeful earlier. There has to come a time where Pascal comes out of his shell. And what I mean by that is he's never been boisterous. He's never been a guy that says, give me the ball. But this is an important year for him as well. If he wants people to see him in a certain way, a max guy, a guy who can possibly be a number one option elsewhere, he has to sometimes get that basketball and be more assertive and be more aggressive and say, I'm going to score the basketball. We've seen it from Scotty this year. Why haven't we seen it from Pascal? What do you think about that? Does he need to take more aggression or take the ball more and say, I'm the man on this team?
Um, I think that's so that whole selfishness thing, right? Let's go back to that whole thing with Messiah. Did any
Yeah.
of us even think that Siakam was selfish before? I
No.
never thought the way he dished out, the way he was a hub, the way he always looked for his teammates. I never even put that out there. And this year, I don't know if he's overreacting to the whole thing. And the moment there's a double team, he's dishing it out way too early, in my opinion. Instead of him kind of pushing it a little bit further, he's taking it out. I don't know if that's Coach Darko in his ear saying, you know what, double team, you got to move it out. Or if that's Masai in his ear, you're selfish. And you know what, I don't know what's going on, but there's a whole lot going on right now mentally with that kid.
Yeah. I mean, there's time. It's only 3 games, but we have to analyze the 3 games. I mean, I haven't seen him struggle like this since he's been a Raptor. I mean, 14 points, 37% shooting, 40% from three, which I mean, a lot of players are shooting high 3-point percentage just because the way this offense is being done is the other teams are slagging into the paint, and so we're just passing to each other on the outside looking for an open three on back cuts, and it's like nothing's really happening in the lane until we prove we can shoot threes. Against Philadelphia with Embiid in there, we were just going to take a lot of threes. Our 2 points percentage was really bad. So I think you got to have a healthy mix, but Darko seems intent on running his offense no matter who gets the shot. And you still need a guy to make that big shot for you when the shot clock's running down. And I think that's why our offense is kind of sputtered early on in the season. And we're relying on defense to win our games.
Yeah, this offense is new, right? So let's put that into perspective as well. It's a brand new offense. A lot of these guys don't know what's going on. It wasn't a great offense to begin with last year. We just relied on offensive rebounding. Otherwise, we have a worst.
Yes.
I think second worst team in assists last year.
Yeah.
It was just horrible. But this year, we're doing a whole bunch of different things that people aren't used to, like I said. And I think hopefully that will take time. And by the end of the year, let's see what this offense is like. But you're right. At the end of the day, at this point where we're at, they need guys like Barnes, like Siakam, to sometimes do those ISO little plays to score those baskets when there's nothing happening. And I'm seeing Siakam do it with like 6 or 7 seconds left on the clock, and that's just not enough time for him to do something like that.
Yeah, we've seen it from Scotty, especially in the Philly game. He was really good driving the lane at the top of the lane, and there's no better place I like Scotty than going downhill. He's going to be a tough guy to stop. And my thing is, can they do it together or do they have to be separate? Because there's no reason both can't do it, but we've only seen it from Scotty. And I don't know if that's a Darko thing or if that's just the keys being given to Scotty or just Pascal sort of hanging out at 3-point line, but it's concerning.
Or has Scotty grabbed the keys? That's another factor
Yes.
too, right?
Yes.
He has just been on a different level, and he's been by far the best player out there for the last 3 games. Which is something. I mean, what was Pascal last year? 24, 5 and 5 at this time of year, something like that, or ridiculous numbers, as opposed to 14 points. What the heck? You know what I mean? What is going on? That's I don't know. It's those two guys together. Come on, we have both of those two guys. We're playing at that 24 or 20-point level. This is a different offense.
Yeah, I think there's hope, guys. We're 1-2, but I think the overreaction is a little much. We're doing this. We've had 3 relatively close games, and we came out on the short end of 2 of them. One that we should have for sure won. We should be 2-1 right now at the very worst. And Siakam hasn't played well. That's a positive in my mind, because when he starts playing well, and if we keep the defense up, that's a positive sign. There is growing pains. We are a young team. It's going to take time to incorporate a new offense and a new coach. And you can see that in the turnovers. What I will say about Scotty is he is turning it over a little bit too much. And that might be just a microcosm of him having the ball way more than anyone expected. And sometimes when he drives the lane, he stops on a dime and tries to look for a pass and leads to a turnover. I think he rushes his passes on the fast break sometimes, although that didn't happen against Philadelphia. So maybe him having the ball too much is hurting the team a little bit and maybe hurting Siakam's production as well. But I like what I've seen from Scotty outside of the turnovers.
He's an aggressive passer, right? He's always been an aggressive passer. He's making passes that Freddie VanVleet wouldn't even think about doing, right? Who is a very, very conservative passer, right? So he's going to, remember Nash, he used to have, 6 or 7 turnovers a game, right? 10 assists, but the very, 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 very high turnover guy. Same thing, I can see that with Scotty. He's just pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And he, at this point in the stage, he's young. He's 21. Do you remember being 21? You know what? You were bulletproof, man. You could do anything you wanted to do, right? So at times he's given him a little bit, a couple of years.
Yeah.
We'll see what he's like on his passing end. But right now he's just a little bit too aggressive. But I don't mind. I don't mind him being more aggressive. Do you know what I mean? After last year, we always kind of had him move back a little bit too much.
Yeah, you know what? I've been actually more impressed with our younger players than with our experienced players, which is kind of surprising. But if our experienced players, aka Jakob and Siakam, sort of go back to the norm, that can only be a positive. OG's hurt right now. That's a big loss. We missed him in the Philadelphia game.
Oh
Although in
yeah.
fairness, nobody can guard Maxey, guys. For people who are getting on Dennis, like Fred could not guard him either, guys. Come
Good
on.
look at.
He was blowing by Fred
Oh.
all last year too. Come
How do
on,
you
man.
guard
Like,
someone who's taking a 3-point shot from 10 feet in front of the line? You can't
yep,
guard that. He's gonna blow by you. On the other side,
yep,
you got to give him a little bit of buffer, right?
yep,
Boom, he's hitting everything. Come
yeah.
on, Maxie, you give it
So
up. I love that kid, though. I love him.
yeah, he's a great. I love Max. He's one of my favorite players in the league, guys. So I expected what he did in that game, and I just put my hands up. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing. With a guy with that kind of speed, you have to get off him a little bit. Hope he doesn't make his three. If he makes his three, there's nothing you can do. I think he has his career high against us of 42. He torched us in the playoffs. Like, it's just. Philly, trade Harden and go with Maxey, Embiid, and Harris and whoever else. It just you're good. I told 2-minute warning that on a space the other day. So we got a few minutes left. Is there anything else you want to add about the Raptors starting off this year?
It's
Obviously
game
they play Portland
three.
tomorrow.
It's game three, buddy. It's game
Yeah.
three. Calm down,
Yeah.
guys. Game
Yes,
three.
calm
We're
down.
1-2. We're okay. We're not going to win a chip this year. Let me repeat that. We're not winning a championship. Okay, the best case scenario, maybe 5, maybe 6. That's the best case we got here. It's a new team, new coach, young guys. Let's calm down, relax, enjoy this. Because you know what? I really miss basketball. I've missed basketball during the summer, and I don't care. I'd rather have crappy basketball, the Raptors losing, than no basketball at all.
Yeah, I'm having way more fun watching this year. Although that Chicago game, I think I had that almost ended my life watching that game. But I will say, seeing Scotty and Grady in the last game, I'm very happy that they're developing the way that they are, and this is a development year. So I'm happy that they look good and are feeling good about themselves. It's going to take some time, guys. I think that we'll get better as the season goes along. Look, we got a really tough schedule to start the year. We got Philadelphia on Thursday again, guys. So, and in Philadelphia. So we got the Bucks twice. I think we play the Celtics twice. It's going to be a tough schedule to start the year and a litmus test for us. Having said that, Portland's playing Philadelphia tonight and they're playing us tomorrow. We have no excuse not to lose to Portland. So let's make sure we get that one.
Yeah, you know what? It's winning at the beginning of the year with all these changes. We were lucky to get the first game, and I think expectations changed drastically after that 4-0 preseason. Prior to that, everyone, I heard 30 games from a lot of people. We're going to win 30 games this year, and we go 4-0, and all of a sudden, everyone that bubble starts getting hyped up, and we go 1-2, and the little pinprick. This whole fan base is just going crazy.
Yes. RELAX. Relax, people. Relax. Enjoy this man and enjoy Scotty. Listen, I'm very happy with Scotty's start. Like, I couldn't be happier with the way he started. And that is a positive. Him getting in and playing an entire fourth quarter in his third career game, playing 28 minutes and giving you 16 points. That is huge. Huge. So don't worry, guys. Better days are ahead. Don't worry.
Future's bright.
Okay. All right.
You better well start wearing shades, just like me.
That's right. Hey, I'm telling you, every time we talk about them, they're coming out, guys. Every time. So, and I expect Grady to have a good game against Portland. It should be Portland can't defend, so we should see a good game,
right? It's a young guy. That's what rookies do.
Yeah.
They go one great game, 1 or 2 bad games. One great game, 1 or 2 bad games. That's what happens in your first year, right? So if he has a couple of things, let's not go crazy again trading Grady or whatever, okay? Just take it for granted. Just these little things are going to happen.
Yeah, we're looking for good signs, guys, and we got them from Scotty and Grady. Now, I have a minute left, but I am going to come back with Nigel just to say a proper goodbye. So we will be back. And I'm going to ask Nigel what he's up to and what he's doing for the rest of the year. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Reese Report. We just took a little bit of a break there. I wanted to ask Nigel a couple more questions before we go. Nigel, obviously we started the year 1-2. There's panic all over Raptor Land. Not from this corner over here. I'm pretty excited about the team. I predicted that the Raptors would be 44-38 going to the year. I am not straying from that prediction. I believe they can be the 6th seed. I believe early on the record might not be as good, but will get better as the season goes along and players get more comfortable with this offense and guys like Grady Dick start to play more. What do you think the Raptors' record will be this year, and what seed will they be?
Yeah, I'm totally comfortable with what you said. I think 40 to 45 ideally is where I'm putting them in that range. Six, yeah, I can definitely see the sixth spot. If everything goes well, as we talked about Yak and Siakam, all of those guys, OG, all of them playing well together. The only thing that would stop them is trades, them
Yep.
going younger. If Siakam goes, if OG goes, whatever, that's going to change the face of this team and change the evaluation. But I'm quite comfortable still with 40 and 45, 40 to 45
Yeah.
wins in that range.
And having said that, I might as well put your GM hat on. Do you think any of the players on 1-year deals, and I'll name the main three, there's 7 total, but the main three are obviously the 3 starters. Well, now Gary's on the bench. So Gary, who's not happy about being on the bench, OG and Pascal, which of those 3 after the deadline will still be here?
The way things are working out right now, and I think this summer kind of said that Pascal was the man being left out. Um, I think that's still on the table. The fact that you're an all NBA, all two-time All Star, blah blah blah, not getting a extension. I think
Yeah.
that says something. I'm really worried that it's also a personal scenario between the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's and I'm would be really concerned if that's the case because I would have expected Masai to be more professional than that, and
Yeah.
that's really kind of upsetting to me as far as him as a general manager. So I hope
Yes.
that's the case, but it just does feel like that in a lot of ways.
I
So
mean,
that's why I see it.
it's if you look at everything that's happened, they tried to trade him to Atlanta. They do a presser before the season, basically call him selfish. They basically say there will not be any selfish play, i.e., no ISO basketball. And everything that has happened since that pressure has led into no ISO basketball, pass the ball, point 0.5 offense. I mean, and the way that they've handed the keys to Scotty and Pascal's been sort of a 3-point guy. Like it's early, but like everything is pointing in that direction. And Masai basically not offering extension tells you he doesn't want to pay him the max. So it's a slippery slope. I don't know what Masai is doing, but he's playing with fire and he's going to get burned.
Yeah, I think it's sad. It's really sad to see because if there's any guy you respected on this team, it's a guy like Siakam who's come from nowhere, essentially an energy guy running up and down and not exactly skilled into an all NBA guy. Who saw that year one, right?
Yeah.
And if there's anything that you'd want the rest of your young guys to see is a guy who can make it just based on hard work.
Yeah.
So it's really
Yeah.
disappointing, I think, for me. That's
Yeah.
the number one thing.
Now, I'm the first guy to say that Kawhi Leonard was the reason we won the title in
Yeah.
2019, and that is
Mm.
accurate. But
Yeah.
I will say that without Pascal's massive jump that year into a 2-3 option and Kyle's leadership, plus the bench play and so on and so forth, we don't win that title either.
100. 100.
So you've got and they when they did pay Pascal and did not decide to trade him, that was a level of respect because there were rumors that he was going to get traded to appease Kawhi. They said no way, we're keeping him. And to Pascal's credit, he took below the max when he signed his first big contract. So I can't see him doing it again, and I don't blame him. But you're never going to hear Pascal come out and say it. He's just going to stay
He's
humble and be the way he is.
Think about all the trades they've talked about with him. They've talked about that trade. They talked about the whole thing with the guy in Brooklyn.
Yep.
They talked about him. They've talked about him in so many different trades ever since. I've never heard anyone else being talked about in trades as much as him. Right.
Yes.
So it's been that way the whole time. I don't know why. I don't know how, but in some ways, yes. Would you pay him $40 something million?
Uh, that is a tough decision. A lot of people, including a lot of my peers, think that he should have got paid already. I don't disagree with that. But if the team is going to be mid, then I would really think about it because he's going to be 30 years old. But having said that, if you've waited this long and you haven't traded him and you haven't made a decision organizationally whether you're going for it or not, then you've kind of put yourself in a situation where you kind of have to. They had a chance in January of last year, and I said this on my show when they were 23 and 30, to trade Fred and to sort of go for draft picks in this amazing draft that we just had. They chose to trade for Jakob Pertl and give up 3 picks for him, and then lose Fred for nothing. They haven't picked a direction, which has further muddied the waters for this team. Now you have 3 guys on 1-year deals that are basically starters. Gary Trent's sort of a bubble starter. And then you also have 4 other guys that are eligible to leave your team and probably will. So if you knew you were going to start over anyway, why didn't you start over last January when you had a chance to be a part of one of the best drafts in history? That's the part that bothers me, not picking a direction.
Well, I think they picked a direction. They were going to go for it this year, right? Until Fred decided not to, right? And then
Yes.
in the summertime, they were not. They were going to start anew and get rid of Pascal until Pascal kind of screwed it up. So we know
Yeah.
the direction they kind of want to go, right?
Mhm.
It's how they go about it now. Because that's why I think Siakam's the one who's gone. Because I think in their minds, this is the Scott and Grady show, right? It's going to be, or whoever else is going to come up alongside with them, and it kind of makes sense because it's going to take a couple of years for our guy to get back to where he should be. It's going to take a couple of years for Grady. It's good for Barnes, and for Darko. All of those people are going to take some while before they can really make a run.
Yeah, I think the thing that gave it away for me was the Damian Lillard rumors. When the trade came out that it was going to be Grady and I don't know, like Grady and some parts. And I was like, and then the rumors were, well, we hung up the phone when you asked for Scotty. We hung up the phone when you asked for OG. It's like, okay, that shows a little level of respect for those 2 guys. And at the same time, you were looking to trade Pascal. The writing's on the wall. I get the
Yeah,
feeling
very
they
much.
want they want to keep those 2, and they don't care what happens with Pascal. That I mean, it's kind of hard not to draw a conclusion from that.
Yeah, my conclusion from that was that if you're gonna get Lillard, you need to have Scotty and you need to have OG and you need Pascal, right? You
Right.
otherwise, what's the point of having Lillard on that team? It's kind
Yeah.
of useless, right?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was my I don't know, buddy. I don't know what Masai. Forget Masai. Let's not talk about him. Let's stay
Yes.
positive. Zen
Yes.
man, that's where I'm at.
Yes. Masai gives me a headache.
Yeah.
Like I every time I talk about
Oh,
him, he makes my
yes,
brain
yes,
fry, and I
yeah.
like working with my brain, which was pretty accurate all throughout last year, all throughout the offseason, and up till now. We'll see if my record comes through, but everything that's happened with this team has happened. I said last year, Fred and Nurse were going to be gone. Whether that's right or wrong is up to debate, but those 2 had to go. And they've come out and said basically it was time for them to leave. The team had to move on with their young stars. And now we're seeing Scotty Barnes with the ball more and positive results so far. We'll see if that continues. I hope Grady gets more of an opportunity. It looks like he will because we're already got injuries and Otto hasn't played a minute. So it looks like he's going to get his chance early on. It's a very confusing time, but it's because of a new coach and a very there's a lot of players for one position, 2 positions, a lot of small forwards, a lot of guards, and there's only so many spots. So I guess if you play well, you're going to play, and if you don't, you're not. We saw that with Jalen only playing 2 minutes against Philadelphia and Grady playing 28. So play well and you get to play. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, I like it. I like the fact that Darko's seeing things. You know, I mean, he's not playing his guys. He's playing whoever is hot, and they're playing well. It's nice to
Your
see.
thoughts on Darko before the season and now? What were your thoughts when we hired him?
Initially, I had no idea who the hell he was, right? And
Yeah.
I did a lot of try to dig on what he was. And then the one thing that really pushed me over on his side was I think it was Eric Kareen's article about how the level of respect around the league for this guy, how everyone
Yeah.
loves him, how everyone thinks that he's, something special. And that just took me to another level because you know what? You don't build those kind of relationships in a league that's very, very competitive. And people
Mhm.
don't say nice things about other people very easily, right?
Yeah.
So I was taken aback by that, and that really refocused me on being a Darko supporter.
Yeah, for anyone out there who's already down on Darko, go look at his time in OKC and Memphis. The one thing that he definitely did was he really helped the bench players on those teams. Uh, Memphis and OKC were two of the highest 3-point shooting teams in the league, and they had two of the best benches in the league when he was there. And that's what he's trying to do with the Raptors now, and he's off to a pretty decent start. I mean, they're shooting a high percentage from three. They're at 37% from three, which is 10% higher than they were last year. The problem is they're not making their twos. That's the issue right now, and they're struggling at the foul line. So you're going to lose close games if you struggle at the foul line. Siakam missed a couple against Chicago, which really could have iced the game. You've got to have those when you have an opportunity to put the game away. But that's all I have for the Raptors. I don't want to go too crazy. It's 3 games. I am going to try to have a weekly guest talking about the team. I'm trying to get new guys all the time, but I'm definitely going to have this man back. But in the meantime, Nigel, what are you doing with Raptors Republic, with the Raptors? What are you doing this season with the team?
Yeah, I got lots going on. So I write for the Raptors Republic, covering the Raptors, whatever kind of takes my fancy, something that gives me a little bit of passion to write about. I was kind of writing about the summer of our discontent and how things are changing around a little bit from where we were this whole summer. I also covered 905 for the Raptors Republic as well. Excited to see those guys out there again. Hopefully, Koloko is back and his respiratory issues, which I'm really concerned about, to be honest with you. It's
Yes,
been 3 months,
yes,
right? So that's
yeah,
another issue. And I'm really, really excited to be a media caster for a new app called Pro Sports Fans. And my
yeah.
man Reese here is going to be a guest here, and hopefully we're going to see a lot of him on there because I love him and I love what he does out here, and I love his energy and I love his way of thinking and his takes. So super excited for that, and thank you very, very much for having me. It's been a pleasure. I love talking with you all the time, buddy. It's been
Yes,
fun to chop it
I
up.
Yes, I plan to be on the watch party. I've tried twice and have failed. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. They're not letting me on this watch party, and it's killing me. I'm trying to get my face up there. I can't. I can't talk on it. I've got to figure out what's going on, why I'm being blocked. But I will be trying to get on there for Portland because I actually have nothing to do. The last couple of games, I was at my in-laws. I was building beds and trying to talk. It's like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to watch the game. I'm going to focus on the game, try to get on the watch party, talk with Nigel live. For anyone who wants to tune in, please join us. I'm always going to be on my channel, but yes, I love talking during the games, provided the feeds are all the same, because sometimes the feeds are off,
That's
which makes
always a
it
little bit
difficult.
off here and there, but the part it's just about having some fun, hanging out with the
Yeah,
guys, having a beer kind of thing, and you're just
absolutely.
talking about what's going on. It's a lot of fun.
Yes,
Hope you guys, and if you
yes.
guys are out there and you join us, I'd love to have you up as well. Be a guest, do a little chitter chatter, give us your takes on what's going on.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, guys. I love give and takes. Grady hit his first three, and I went nuts on one of the spaces I could get on, and I sounded like Marv Albert when he made the three, and then he went nuts after that. So I'm like, oh boy, here he comes.
Here it
Um,
comes.
Him playing the entire fourth quarter, I felt like a proud papa. Like I'm like, this is
Yes,
this is this
yes.
is so great. Like for Darko to trust him this early in the season with an entire fourth, that's a positive sign for Mr.
And
Dick,
you've been a
especially
huge
after.
advocate of him. You've been a
Oh,
huge
yes.
advocate of him all the way through
Yes.
this whole thing.
Yeah, way back in January, I said he's the player we should draft. Even when people thought he wouldn't drop, I said in April he'll be the 13th pick, and I just happened to be right, and it's really helped me and my channel and get a lot of recognition for that. So I had a good year last year with predictions, guys, and knowing where this team was going. I hope I'm right on the team this year as well. But I'm always going to be fair and honest with good and bad. That's just the way I am. You're going to get the mouth, and you're going to get straight from it. Like I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. So, but so far it's up and down, which is what we expected. So we'll see. Big week coming up. We got Portland, Philadelphia. I think the Bucks. I just want to check. Might as well before we go. Who do we got? Nigel, do you know?
Yeah, those things. So Portland definitely tomorrow. Then we have Philadelphia on Monday. No,
Yeah.
Monday's Portland. Wednesday,
Oh, we got the
I think Philly,
Bucks.
and
Wow, we
Bucks.
got the
Those three.
Bucks.
And I
Yeah.
think on Sunday we
Wow.
got San Antonio. We got Wemby on
Yes.
Sunday.
I will definitely be on talking after that game about Wemby or during that game. Wemby is an alien playing basketball. That is not a normal human being. He's like, you know that game Roblox? He's like one of those guys where their arms go wide like this, and you can choose their size. Like he's crazy. Like,
Okay, question for you.
yes,
Quick question.
yes, sure.
Who's more of an alien, Wemby or Zion?
I'm gonna say Wemby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're
Um,
both freaks.
I would have said Zion was an alien, but then when you get hurt as much as he does, and you don't come back quick, if you're an alien, you come back and you play more than that. So,
Yeah.
I'm until Wemby gets hurt, I'm gonna say he's more of an alien than Zion. But yes, I had that thought at first, but he didn't have the crazy size that like Wemby just doesn't look like a normal person. He's
No,
just
those arms,
so
those ridiculous arms.
like I'm looking forward to the day. Actually, he did play Fred the other day. I need to go look at the highlights. But imagine Fred trying to drive on him.
They have you seen them like standing next to each other? It's ridiculous. It is
Yeah.
so weird.
Yes. So he's a guy who can just stand and block the basketball. He doesn't have to jump, which is crazy. Um, so I hope he stays healthy, and he's going to be something special if he stays healthy. The hype on him is insane. I hope it's not too much. But when you say you're a bigger prospect than LeBron, that is high praise.
Mhm.
Um, so we'll see. I think he's raw, but I think he'll take some time. But he's going to be something special. The right organization has him as well. The Spurs, they'll take their time with him and they won't rush him. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him. And now that I know they're playing him on Sunday, what a sked we got. Milwaukee and Philly on a back-to-back, and then
Yeah,
the
it's
Spurs.
exciting.
What a great week this is going to be. So look forward to that, guys.
For me, Wemby, what separates Wemby from everyone else is the professional attitude he has. He brings to it.
Yeah.
Everything is unlike Zion, who is yeah, he's got he's kind of like a fun guy, right?
Yes.
This kid
Yes.
is all business. That's why he kind of reminds me of LeBron. You know that all business. I know what I want to be. I know how I'm going to get there, and I'll
Yeah.
sacrifice anything to do it.
Yeah. I will be very interested in following his career. I look forward to seeing him. I'm glad he's playing. I'm glad they're not sort of load managing him early. They're letting him play. So that's good. Hopefully he does play in Toronto. I don't know if they played the night before, but yeah, they're playing in San Antonio. I think he'll play home games, so we should see him in that game. That's one ticket I want to try to get. If when they come to
Mm-hmm.
Toronto, I want to
Mm-hmm.
see him. So
Yeah.
hopefully I can get that and it doesn't cost me like $1,000 to go see him. These ticket prices are ridiculous. So it's hard. It's hard to go to games, guys. The 905 though, if somehow that man ends up down there, I will be attending. Hopefully it doesn't happen though. But
Come
I
down, come down. I'd love to see you
uh,
down there, buddy. Me and
yeah,
JD will be down there.
yeah, I think I'm gonna watch a game one way or the other, even without Mr. Dick down there. I just, it's cheaper, it's really fun, the crowd's
Yeah.
more intimate, and I get to meet some of the people that are on my show, maybe find some more guests. So I look forward to that. But I'd like to thank Nigel a lot for coming on. It was a great conversation. I'm gonna try to do this every week. I'm also gonna have surprise segments coming soon where I'm on my own reaction after games. You guys are going to want to stay tuned for that. My wife will be a part of that. She produces the show. She creates this lovely background. So we're a team here, even though it's the mouth. She's the real mouth in the family over here. So I gotta tread carefully. She's already talking to me. She says she's the brains. So there you go, right? So I have to make sure that I have my A game on, otherwise it's not going to be good for me. So But thank you very much for joining us, guys. I'm the Mouth of North Andrews. That is Nigel. Check him out on the Raptors Republic in the 905. Check me out here on my channel. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Anything, I will always respond, guys, positive or negative. I don't mind, because if I'm gonna deliver it, I'm gonna take it too, guys. So please let me know. Subscribe as always. Trying to get to 1,000. At 670. You got 4 new people since the mini series and since my shows. Keep them coming, guys. And I will see you next time on the Reese Report.